and thank you for everybody attending on short notice. It's a one-item agenda. The meeting is actually open to the public and is being webcast. However, appendices 1 and 2 to item 5 on the agenda are not available for the public or press because they contain exempt information relating to financial and business affairs. And if any member wishes to discuss this information in the appendices, we will need to ask the members of the public and press to kindly leave for that part of the meeting, and we will then pause the website. We have no questions from members of the public, and if you've got mobile phones, then obviously standard practice, just switch them off. And there is no fire test planned for today. Can I ask each member of the committee to introduce themselves, including officers, and I'll start with myself. Councillor Mohammed Mahroof, Chair of EDSC.
Good afternoon, Chair. Councillor Ibby, Ullah, Councillor for Nether Region Sharrow, also Deputy Chair of this committee. Just to bring your attention, Chair, that my colleague Minesh Parak has sent his apologies, and Councillor Mary Lee will be his substitute for today. Thank you.
Councillor Mary Lee, Darnell.
Councillor Mark Whittaker, member for Stocksbridge and Upper Don. Thank you.
Henry Nottage, member for Hillsborough Ward.
Barbara Masters, a member for Ecclesall Ward.
Sherry Grant, Assistant Director for Legal.
Fiona Martinez, Fiona Martinez, Democratic Services.
Thank you for that. Apologies for absence. I think Councillor Ibby has already mentioned that Mary Lee's have been for Minesh. Rob Rice, I think, is an apology, and Denise Fox is the two that I'm aware of. Exclusion of the public and press, as I mentioned in the introduction. That's where we're at with that. Declarations of interest. Do any members have any declarations of interest? No. Public petitions and questions and statements. No public questions have been received. We move straight on to item 5, which is being presented by Diana Buckley. Over to yourself.
Hi everybody. Firstly, thank you for doing this extraordinary meeting for us. It's really appreciated. Hopefully you've received the paper. What I'll do in this session is just talk through the substance of the main paper and the delegations that you're being asked to support, and take any questions on that. If then anybody has questions on the appendices, we can move on to those in a private session. Thank you. So members, we took the decision at Finance Subcommittee in April 22 to invest some Simca gain share money into a project feasibility fund. That fund has delegations already set up to officers and has been running since that time. This fund is designed to help projects do all of the planning, economic assessment, financial work they need to do to be able to apply for external funding in the main and to meet business case requirements. This has been a gap for a number of years, and we were very pleased when Simca agreed with South Yorkshire authorities to create this fund. So since then, the process has been underway where internal projects or projects with partners will come forward through an application which is then scored by officers. That scoring is then checked by our accountable body team and sent to our Exec Director of City Futures and Finance for final approval. That's been working really well, but we're now starting to see more projects coming in from partner organisations where they want to hold the funds directly. And our delegations, when we first set up the report, weren't strong enough to approve that we could delegate and give grants to organisations above the 50,000, which is in our remit. So the report today takes you through the detail of the project feasibility fund, but it's specifically asking you two things. So first off, we have two projects that are over 50,000, are in Appendix 1 and 2 and commercially confidential, that have been scored by officers and have met all the thresholds, but we don't have the authority to make the grant decision. So we're asking you to approve the grants that we're recommending to you on those two. We're also asking that you delegate authority for grants up to 250,000 going forward to the Director of City Futures and the Director of Finance and Resource, so we don't have to call extraordinary meetings every time we want to do a project above 50,000 with a partner. And just to explain why it's difficult to fit that into the normal cycle, these deadlines are often driven by funding organisations, and they fall at all different times of the year depending which funding organisation it is. These projects are generally capital projects and large scale, and so have a number of gateways they have to meet, and so need the funding up front to be able to meet the funding deadline and put in the business case in a timely way. So fitting that into a committee cycle can be quite difficult. And that's what's happened this time. So these two projects that are coming to committee today, they are aiming for funding bids, external funding bids, and will leverage significant external funds. But the preparation work needs to be done in advance of meeting that deadline. And if we would have waited till September or October's meeting, we wouldn't have been able to do the work that we needed to do in time. I'm happy to take any questions on the central elements of the report now, if members have any.
So, just a substitute, I only read the papers yesterday, but it says on page 26 that they are part of the extended Olympic Legacy Park development. How does that work? Because they're quite a distance from the Olympic Legacy Park and the development that's going on in Attercliffe at the moment.
That question's in the private appendix, so if it's okay, I'll come back to that when we cut the feed, if that's okay. Thanks.
Councillor Ullah.
Thank you, Chair. If we do delegate powers to officers of up to £250,000, how can we still provide our input? I mean, it doesn't have to be through the committee, it could be through the regular briefing. This will be the case. If that, please clarify that.
In the first report, we did have delegations in, so annual reports and updates have been going to the Council's Regen Board on the programme as a whole, which would give oversight of every project that's going through the PFF. However, if members wanted to be cited on particular grants above 50,000, we could do that in consultation with members, the chair and the leads of this committee informally as part of the delegation.
I would very much welcome that. Thank you.
Thank you. Really, it's the same sort of question, because I'd like to think that sort of the officers would report to somebody like the chair of the appropriate committees before the decision is finalised, and if it is possible for then us to be informed informally afterwards. But it is that lack of obvious oversight that bothered me, so I think that's been addressed. Thank you.
Councillor Nottage.
Thank you, Chair. How often do we issue grants between £50,000 and £250,000?
This is the first time we have given a grant above 50,000 externally. PFF has done larger scale than 50,000, but they've been internal to support things like Graves and Central Library Feasibility Fund, Harmony Works, other things like that have been through the overarching thing but held by the council, so there isn't this delegation in place. Generally, they have had committee reports alongside them, so the Harmony Works grant came here as part of a culture update, and Graves and Central Library has been to SNR. So when they are large scale, they generally have other oversight as part of a larger scale project, because they're supporting the growth plan and the regen projects that the council are kind of backing. So this is the first time that an external grant has been above 50,000. It's not the norm, yeah.
Councillor Lee.
I remember when we were developing the committee system a couple of years ago, we did set a limit on how much the funding that we could delegate to officers, and I can't remember what that was, but we said everything else would go through committee. And I know you said there's a way that things will be reported, but going back to the past when we had a cabinet system, individual cabinet member decisions were published. Would that be a way of ensuring that all members understood what was going on and how much money, where money was going and where funding was going?
I would propose that the second recommendation, in addition to delegating authority to the Exec Director in consultation with the Director of Finance. We also add in consultation with the EDS Chair, Co-Chair and Spokesperson into that. And that will ensure that there is appropriate oversight responding to your comments. I mean, Sherry, I'll let you come into this from a legal perspective.
So no, I was just going to say that's exactly what I've just written down. So obviously we will have to move that as an amendment to recommendation.
Councillor Masters,
You proposing it?
Councillor Nottage seconding it and thirding it,
So that's
Councillor Ullah.
So
So it's unanimous.
So that's So
Yeah.
just to be clear, so that delegates the authority to the Executive Director of City Futures in consultation with the Director of Finance and Resources and the Chair of the EDS Committee.
Councillor Nottage.
So if this is the first time that there's a decision being made that would have been affected by this delegation or the lack of delegation, has it complicated things that we've had to call an extraordinary meeting of EDS in terms of the time frame?
It pulls on everyone's time in terms of democratic services and all of you as members and an additional report and things like that. So yeah, there's officer time that means that that does have extra implications, and it also does delay things a little bit. Wherever we can, like I said, when we've had time in the past, we've embedded them into certain updates that are going anyway, but it's when it's driven by an external time. So I don't expect it to be all of the time, but I think we're halfway through the Project Feasibility Fund. So adding in the delegation to do some informal consultation, I think would be absolutely fine. And in addition to that, when we're doing the fund overviews that go to Regen Board, we can also share that information informally with this committee.
Any further questions on the main part? No. Are there any questions for part 2, which is where we switch the webcast off? Yeah, Councillor Lee asked the question. Can we bring that up and then can we switch the webcast off, please? That's given me an idea, to be honest with you, rather than having a huge agenda, and because I know members' times are taken up by lots of other things as well. So, but reading one report and then coming to a meeting like this is quite good. So maybe an idea for the future of how we move on. In terms of the report itself, there are recommendations there. Members have read them. If we're all happy to approve them, subject to the amendments that we've agreed. That's unanimous. Thank you so much for that. And all now is the time and date of the next meeting, which was due to be in September, but the advice that I've had is that we needed to get everything in like this week or next week and to be ready for the 8th of September, I think it was the next meeting. It wasn't feasible, so we're going to have a longer session, completely contradicting myself from what I've just said previously, in October, where we will have a full agenda. And if members are agree with that, that's what I'm being proposed to do. Thank you so much, and thank you for attending this session. Councillor Ullah.
Chair, my colleague Nikki Belfield was here, just for records, and she had to leave due to potential pecuniary interest. I hope that's recorded. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and have a good day.